Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be basically my journey on getting into saddle hunting and getting into saddle hunting, what I'm going to take and what I actually carry. I'm going to go over everything that's in my pack, my saddle, and currently right now the only thing that I actually hunt with is a rifle. I don't bow hunt right now at the moment, but hopefully in a little while that'll change. So basically what I've got set up behind me, this is the rifle that I use. This is my pack, my climbing stick, and of course my saddle. So I'll go over individually everything that's with those items, and we'll kind of take a look and see what I actually carry when I hunt. I do try and keep everything down to as minimal as possible. If everything goes well this year, I should come out heavier than I went in. So let's hope that works, and let's just watch and see how my journey goes. Hopefully I can make this saddle hunting work for me, and along the way hopefully give some of y'all that are new to actually getting into saddle hunting some information of tips and things that I've kind of learned along the way, with some help from the guys on saddlehunter.com, which is a saddle hunting forum. Just like it says, it's devoted to a lot of saddle hunting. There's a lot of general hunting information on there as well. The people on that site, I'll tell you right now, I've not encountered a better bunch of people. I've dealt with a lot of people on there, and everybody that I've dealt with has been very helpful. We have a good time. We go back and forth with banter and things like that, and we give each other crap. But you know, it's a community, and we enjoy it. And I feel very lucky that I found that website. So if you really want to take a look and see what saddle hunting's all about, I suggest you check out saddlehunter.com. Sign up. Membership is free. There is a paid membership as well, which doesn't cost much. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's like $5 or $10, but it's very well done, very well organized. The gentlemen that run the site are a great bunch of guys. The other members on there, like I said, great bunch of guys. Couldn't be more happy that I found that site. So keep that in mind and check it out. Also, if you'd like to see more videos on how my hunts progress this season coming up, then feel free to check out my YouTube page. The YouTube channel is Hunt Carolina, and you can also check out some of the videos that I post on saddlehunter.com. But give me just a few moments, and when I come back, we'll start going over everything that's in the pack, the rifle, why I chose the rifle that I did, why I chose the stick that I did, and my saddle. Alright, so stay tuned, keep watching, and we'll see y'all here in just a bit. Alright guys, welcome back. As I said in the introduction, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the gear that I hunt with and why I chose that gear. So for this particular part of the video, what I'm going to do is we're going to start out with my hunting rifle. The rifle that I chose was the Remington 783. It's a budget entry-level rifle. It's a very good rifle, actually. I chose to go with the 270 caliber, mainly because when I purchased the rifle, the rounds at that time for the 270 were, you know, significantly less costly. They were pretty inexpensive, and it was a good choice for me. A lot of people seem to think that just because it's a budget rifle that it doesn't shoot well, and honestly that's just not the case. The Remington 783 really does shoot very well. It shoots straight and it shoots flat. It doesn't have a lot of high trajectory. So I would suspect that if you're looking to start getting into any type of hunting, depending on the game that you're choosing to hunt, you know, you've got your 270, your 30-06, which is your most popular. I chose the 270 because it is, for me and what I hunt, it's an all-round rifle. It will do exactly what I need it to do. And that's what was most important. Now, give me just a minute. We'll go over and we'll grab the rifle and I'll kind of give you a look at the rifle itself. All right, everybody. So here I am. I'm back with the Remington 783. This is for me, it was the perfect rifle. One, basically being, when it comes to hunting, I am actually on a very, very tight budget. I keep myself on a tight budget because I don't want to really go down that rabbit hole and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on gear that eventually will get replaced within the next couple of seasons for something else. So everything that I do have, obviously I can replace later going into my hunting transition. Now, I am primarily just a deer hunter. I would like to try maybe doing hog and bear hunting pretty soon. So I chose the 270 caliber rifle because of that. Now, when I first got this one was just your black stock, black barrel. It did come with the scope. And again, that's the reason that I chose this rifle, because for my price range, I was able to purchase the rifle for right at about $400. And at $400, that gave me a decent scope. Of course, the scope can and more than likely at the next year or so will be upgraded. So keep that in mind. But for $400 out the door, this was a great rifle for me. It shoots very, very well. It shoots straight. It's easy to sight in. Right now I've got it sighted in for about 100 yards, which is typically where most hunting rifles are sighted in at, depending on what you're hunting and how far you are away from the game that you hunt. So it does have a, as far as the rifle goes, it doesn't have a wood stock. It does have a polymer stock, but it holds up very well. It's not noisy. It's not cold to the touch when you're in colder climates and things like that. I did do the paint job on the camo paint job myself. It was something I was experimenting with, and it was actually really easy. And again, all it's got to do is just kind of break up the pattern of the rifle. So it's not a game changer if it's not camouflage, but at the same time, for me, what can I say? I like camo. That's just what it is. But again, let me grab the camera. We'll bring you over and we'll take a closer look. All right, so here's what we're looking at. Like I said, it's a nice rifle. I think I did a pretty good job on the actual paint job on the camo. Didn't come out too bad. As you can see, there's a couple of nicks around the barrel. There's one right there, and a couple chips in the paint, and that's only because I just painted it. I did not put a clear coat on it, which for me was probably not the best thing in the world to do. But nonetheless, this is the hunting weapon of my choice. The only drawback with that is that limits me to only being able to hunt rifle season. Next season, I'm going to get back into hunting with a bow. I've done it before. I just ended up selling the bow because of my inexperience in hunting. I wasn't able to get close enough to make a good ethical shot. So that is the Remington 783 270 rifle. In the next portion of the videos, what we're going to do is we're going to go over what's in my saddle. All right, guys, welcome back. Now we're going to take a minute and we're going to discuss my introduction into why I chose saddle hunting. In order to do that, we're going to have to go back a little bit as to when I actually decided I wanted to start hunting. About 5 years ago, 6 years ago, yeah, right at 6 years ago. And I just decided I wanted to give hunting a try. I like being in the outdoors, it was great. I enjoy fishing, camping, things like that, so I figured why not give hunting a try. And best case scenario, I get to put meat in the freezer. Worst case scenario, I just get to spend some time in the outdoors, which either way for me is a win. So I was cruising around on YouTube, and when I was on YouTube, I was, looking at information on deer hunting, scouting information, all the important stuff, locating deer trail, locating bedding area, feeding area. Y'all know, most of y'all know the drill. I come across a couple of videos and I saw people using saddles for the first time. Now, I had a lock-on stand. As I've mentioned before, I was on a very tight budget when it comes to buying hunting gear. So I also suffer from a disease that most people have, which is I gotta have it and I gotta have it now. And what that led me to do was have to actually purchase things from Walmart or Amazon or something like that to where I could get it pretty quick. Most of my purchases, however, were from Walmart, Sportsman's Warehouse, because those are here in town, as well as Academy Sports. Now, like I said, I was on a very tight budget. I could only spend bare minimum money. So what I ended up buying was an Ameristep hang-on tree stand, which was like $49. And I have to tell you, that sucker was heavy. That sucker weighed, I'm gonna say, if I had to guess, I didn't actually weigh it, but if I remember the package information, I think it was right at 35, 40 pounds, as well as happen to have 3 climbing sticks, which I got the Riva's Edge 3-step stick, which I think 3 steps cost me right at 40 bucks. So they served a purpose, and they actually worked very well. Now, they were cheap. They were very inexpensive. They wasn't some of your top of the line climbing sticks. They wasn't built for low profile. If I was to purchase anything like that again, that would probably be more done for a permanent set on private land where I could leave everything up and not have to worry about stuff getting stolen, damaged, or anything like that. So that, after a season of doing that, that left me to where I was having to carry in a bunch of weight with the combination of my pack, my rifle, my stand, as well as my my sticks. I think I was at a total for all of those at close to about 50 to 60 pounds. I'm going to say probably upwards of 60, which doesn't seem bad. It was awkward I had to actually take some time and figure out what was the best way to carry this in to public land. The public land that I hunt, keep in mind also, is close to 300,000 acres. So there's a wide area of places to hunt. Right now, I've revamped my hunting strategy, and I can explain that in another video. But I found that I was still parking in the same places that a lot of hunters parked, and I was having to go into a lot of the same areas that other hunters were in. So what that really meant for me was sometimes I would have to hike 2-3 miles actually into the public land just to get away from other hunters. And there's drawbacks to that. I'm spooking deer as I walk in, pushing them to the other hunters that are behind me, as well as I had to carry upwards of 60, maybe even 70 pounds on my back. So I found it was easier because the stand had a set of pack straps that came with it. It was easier for me to strap my sticks to my backpack and then strap my backpack to the stand. So, but long story short, it was a hassle. It was work getting to where I needed to get. If I was having to go through thick cover to get to where I wanted to hunt, then I had sticks clanking on everything. clanking on themselves because I really couldn't find a good way to secure everything. I did try wrapping everything with, I forget what it's called, but you've got the little, it's like a foam camo tape, and it stealth strips. It helps make everything a little quieter. I've tried filling a couple of the sticks up with Expandifoam to kind of deaden the sound. All that did was add a little bit of weight. I tried a lot of hacks that I found on YouTube, and they work, but they still hindered me. And for me, after 2 years of doing that, I was unable to put any meat on the table. Now at this point, I had to backtrack because I wasn't rifle hunting. I started out hunting with a Hoyt bow that I had bought and used from a buddy of mine, and I love that bow. I wish I wouldn't have sold it because now I don't have it, and I'm resorted back to rifle hunting for the season. That'll change next season, I guarantee that. But anyway, long story short, so I found these videos of guys hunting from a saddle, and a couple of them that I paid attention to really closely was G2 Outdoors. If I'm not mistaken, his name is Greg, and I think he actually works for Tethered in some way or another. And then there was Garrett, who is best known as the DIY Sportsman. If you're really looking to do things on a DIY standpoint and minimum budget, minimum money invested, then that's pretty much the way to go. You can DIY a lot of the stuff. And I'll go over that in a minute because that's actually what this setup right here is. So after watching his videos, he had done a DIY setup using a sit drag, which a lot of y'all know what a sit drag is. You strap it to a tree so you can actually hunt from the ground while using a tree to set in, to give support so you're not setting on the ground. Really good idea. Now, when you do a DIY thing, you might want to understand and really comprehend that you're using things outside the means of which they were developed for. So there's no warranty, there's no liability factor that the company can be, held responsible for. If you do anything in a DIY fashion or using any product outside the scope of what it was designed for, then you do that at your own risk. Even with these videos that I'm doing, it's done at your own risk. So keep that in mind. Now, like I was saying, so I came across these videos, and the videos were really good. They were really informative. Another one was I think it's Carl Kasuth. He's a developer for Tethered, and I paid real close attention to him and how he climbs and things like that. Now, while I was researching all this, I tried to order a sit drag, and around this point in time, it seemed like everybody was out of stock on them. So I tried to look to see if there's a way that I could make my own saddle. YouTube wasn't very helpful. Google search led me to saddlehunter.com, which is currently the forum that I'm on right now. And that led me to a video that I found on YouTube. And that was a video by, I think his name is David Toms, and he had done a fleece saddle. So I was like, okay, fleece material, that's not bad. So I started looking at how he made his fleece saddle, and I figured out how the fleece saddle was made, so I made one. Now, I had to go back to not wanting to trust a piece of fleece material to hold and support my weight. So I went back to Garrett's video on the sit drag, and one of the things he used was a rock climbing harness. at this point in time, he was using the rock climbing harness to pretty much get in and out of the hang-on stands. He used it for pretty much everything. Used it for his tether, everything. So that's what I did. I started with that, and that's what you're going to see here. So basically right now what you're looking at, this is the fleece saddle that I made. I have tried to not spend no money whatsoever. I've tried to repurpose items that I've already had, and you're going to see that throughout this section, this course of videos, and you're going to see that I've repurposed a lot. The only thing that I bought was, but we'll get into that in a minute. So this is the fleece saddle that I made. Basically, it's just folded up into a hammock style seat. It does have an adjustable bridge. I got the carabiner off of it right now because that is now in my climbing setup for something else. So I had the fleece saddle that was made. Then I had to go on Amazon and I had to buy a rock climbing harness. This is very important. I've got a video up on using a fleece saddle and what's involved. It's not a very good video, so I'll probably redo it again. It was my first, I've only done a few videos, so they're not really the best, but I try and make them as informative as I can. So I did go on Amazon, and this is a Mace Fans harness. It was only like 39 bucks. So it has key features. It's got your normal climbing setup. It's got gear hangers, as well as lineman belt loops, which is very important. So that is pretty much what I started with. Now, I was very fortunate, and I have lucked up and was able to talk with a bunch of people on the hunting or the saddle hunter forum, and everybody was telling me, steer away from the DIY stuff. And then there was a couple of people that were just, make sure you're staying safe. And I explained to them that I had the harness. I did spend the money and get certified climbing rope. I didn't buy stuff from Walmart. I didn't buy stuff from Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards or anything like that. I did get your certified climbing rope. So all the climbing rope I have is all static rope. And it was the Sterling HTP, and that rope fit my budget to buy the 40 feet that I needed to do what I needed to do. I actually had purchased that from EWO, Eastern Woods Outdoors, I believe. Yeah, Eastern Woods Outdoors is the name of the site, I believe. And I was able to get, at this point in time, I was able to get that Sterling HTP for right at about 89 cents per foot. So I got enough for me to get my, actually I'm wrong, I'm sorry about that. I didn't buy 40 feet because I wasn't even trying to rappel. I was just getting into one sticking, and I bought enough to make my lineman's belt, my tether, and my bridge. So my tether and lineman's belt are both about 7 feet, so that was 14 feet. And I think I rounded it up to right at 20 feet, so I could have enough left over to do my bridge. Excuse me. So I'd already had my ropes, and that was the only thing that I did spend the money on. Wasn't going to take my safety wasn't going to put my safety at risk for cost. So, with the exception, as a lot of people will disagree with me on the fleece saddle, but again, in my defense, I was hooked into a rock climbing harness. Therefore, the saddle really wasn't supporting my weight. It was just a way for me to support myself comfortably, but I was still secured in with the rock climbing harness. But that led me to talking with a lot of guys, and I actually ended up talking with a gentleman. I'm not going to bring his name up because I don't want him to get hounded for doing what he did. But when I say there are a bunch of nice guys that are willing to help on the forum, that's exactly what I mean, because I've been blessed. He had actually had a few extra saddles that he just wasn't using. He has fallen down into that rabbit hole, I'll say. Jokingly, but seriously, he's down that rabbit hole like a lot of the saddle hunters on that forum. They are down that rabbit hole deep. And he was like, dude, he goes, if you want to try a couple out, I'll send you a couple and use them for the season. And then if they're the ones that you like, keep your eye out and check out the classifieds. You can always buy used gear all the time, because the saddles are expensive. They range anywhere from $190 up to, I've seen them as high as $300 and something. And the one he sent me, which is the one that I'm going to go over with, or the two that he sent me, were by a company called Arrow Hunter. And after talking with him and he was telling me some information, I did some research as well. You've got your trophy line out there, you've got your cruise saddles out there, you've got your tethered, and they are all very well made commercial hunting saddles. I'm not disputing that at all. But the one thing I did like about the Arrow Hunter company is from what I understand, they make a lot of things for climbing in general. And that really set well with me. The one that I've got setting here in front of me right now is the Arrow Hunter Kestrel. He had also sent me a Arrow Hunter Flex. This is a size 1. The Arrow Hunter Flex was a size 2. So it was comfortable, but it was a little big. And because it was a little big, it seemed to swallow me. So I felt kind of too bulky for me. But I really like the Kestrel. Really like the Kestrel really well. So we're going to take, here in a little bit, we're going to take a deeper look at what's, the Kestrel and what I got in it. I did start to actually do my first couple of rappels a few weeks ago, and as opposed to the way I used to get down out of the tree, I would one stick up and then one stick back down. And it can be done, but it's time consuming. So there are still some things that I've got to do to my setup to get it fine-tuned to do exactly what I want to do. But still, nonetheless, I'm able to do it, and I'm getting better at it every time I go up and come down. So we're going to take a minute here in just a few, and we're going to go over the Kestrel, and we're going to talk about the ins and outs of it and what it has to offer and why I like it. But I think this is, if I can find one, this is going to be the one that I go with. Who knows, maybe I can talk the guy out of this one that has loaned it to me, since he's got several other ones lying around. But I am partial to this one.